zeros, right? Okay, thanks. Right, so here it is. Notice my error messages, and you don't have to think about, they're all here. And if they don't match mine, I've said, please see that your error messages match mine error messages. I mean, why would you even think about it? So when you check, this is what you're going to check. 0.005 to 0.025. That's what you're going to check. When you print it out, please see that you print them out as percentage. You'll say, how? Just multiply by 100 and print it out. That's how you will do it. Okay. So all error messages are again shown. So that's your accounts class. That's your savings account class, right? So I haven't missed any method. The only one I missed was this. And as I said, I'm not going to do anything to it now. So there it is. That's your, again, I'm mentioning it quite clear. If I don't see inheritance, I'm not marking it. It's a 0. I'm not wasting my time at all. You'll say the class is run, or your test class is run, and it says in my assignment, it very clearly says in the assignment, if any inheritance is present, failure to use inheritance will result in a mark of 0. That's what it is, right? No inheritance, the mark is 0. I'm not going to even see it. It's too much. I mean, it's final this time. Okay. Then comes the third class. The checking account again is a subclass of your superclass. It has a private instance variable called fee per transaction, right? So fee per transaction means any transaction that you do, whether it's a debit or a credit, it takes away that amount from your account balance, right? That's what it is, fee per transaction. So as long as the debit and credit are successful, and you'll say, how do I check that? Logically, if they throw an exception, it stops anyway. You know what I mean? Like if the parent's credit or debit throws an exception, I mean, it stops, it won't do anything after that. So all you have to do in this credit and debit are call the credit of your super and then reduce the amount from your account balance. And the charge fee is right here. The charge fee method is invoked. All that charge fee does is gets the balance and subtracts the transaction fee from it, and your job is done. Right? So the charge fee method is given. It's a private method that returns nothing, and all it does is account balance, get the account balance and subtract the fee per transaction out of it, and then set it back. Don't forget to set it back, because you have to change it, right? And you'll say, where is the account balance? The account balance will come from the parent. The account balance will come from the parent. So you will get it, change it, set it. You can do it in one's instructions, as you did in your employee in your first assignment, right? So get it, subtract, set it back. Just don't do the math, like local math. Change it. You have to change the account balance. So there is a constructor. Again, the constructor has string, double, and double. 3 parameters. Why? 2 coming from its parent and 1 its own. It will make a call to the super to do the 2 initializations, and it will make its own initialization here. Again, to take care of initialization, there is a private validate method again. This fee per transaction should be greater than 0, right? That's all I've said. I looked it up. There are different fees. There are fees per 12 transactions. There are fees in a month, and there's so much. I just said let it be greater than 0. The set and the get methods return and set the value. Again, I want you to call the validate methods in your constructor and your set method. The credit and the debit are overwriting the credit and the debit methods of your parent class. So what do? What should they do? They should actually, what should be the statements inside these? You should be calling your credit of your parent and then calling the charge fee method. That's all you need. A call to the parent's credit and a call to charge fee. And what does charge fee do? Gets the balance, subtracts the transaction fee, sets it back in the account balance. So every transaction that is successful reduces your account balance by that much amount. That's what it does, right? And I've all tested it. So my tests, I mean, if you make a mistake, then definitely the test will fail. So no tests are failing. None of my tests are failing. There are no failures, but there are error messages. And the error messages are just to show you that exceptions are being thrown in this case. And again, I've tried my best to give them names that will make sense and so on. What I expect from you, I'm kind of doing the same thing.
So when we are doing, for example, a credit transaction, you will always have a charge fee for it?
Always. If it is successful. And it will, I mean, so when you say super.credit, you call it. Remember, if there is a problem, that method will throw an exception and the execution stops there. But if it comes back, the credit was successful, then you charge the fee. Same with debit. You make a debit. If the debit is wrong, remember there is an exception right there. It will stop right there. But if it is successful, then it comes to the next statement and will charge a fee. So your debit and credit methods of your child class are basically making a call to the super credit, right? The normal, and then it is making a call to the charge fee. So if you call this method and there is a problem in the method, example, your amount is negative or positive or whatever, then at this, it will stop right there. So notice how you take an amount here and then you pass that amount to your super credit. The check amount less than 0 will be done in the credit method. The super is already doing it. I won't do it again. No redundant code, right? So if there is a problem, then exception is thrown and nothing happens. But if it is successful, it will come back here. And then it goes to the second method. Logically, that's what you will do. So you don't have to check anything. You just put the two statements. It will go to the credit of the parent. It will do the credit. If it is successful, will come back and the fee will be charged. If it is unsuccessful, then you will get an exception and it will stop right there. Then the fee will never be charged. That's the beauty of exceptions. See, I don't have to say, oh, were you successful or not? I'm not returning a Boolean value or anything. If there were no exceptions, then I would have to return a Boolean value. Were you successful? Were you unsuccessful? Then check. Now an exception is thrown. The program execution stops, not the program, the method execution stops and your job is done. Right? So that's what we want. And that's exactly what you have to do. Any methods that throw exceptions, I don't have assert equals or accepted results in them. I don't. If you look at my code, if you open up anything, if you open any one of those files that I've given you, and this is what was actually missing in your unit testing, and I've given that feedback to many of you. I just opened one of my test classes just to show you. So let's take the account test, for example, and I'll open it with Notepad just so that I can see. If I know, oh, I should have removed it. I forgot to remove this. I don't like code that's useless. I commented it out first to test it if it works, and then I was supposed to. But anyway, notice, suppose I know that my account number will be null, right? I'm testing this. I'm saying test constructor null account number. Notice my statement. All I do is I just try to create it. And if it is null, I don't have to say, oh, this is my expected result, asserts not equal. I don't have to do anything. Why am I doing that stuff in my failure methods? In failure methods, this statement should cause an exception, and there is no sense of writing anything after that. Nothing, it doesn't make sense. But many of you have done it. Then you for example, in stock manager and product, you create a stock manager, you create a product, you add it, and then you say, oh, this method throws an exception. What was the sense? Then you say, oh, this is my expected result, this is the result I'm getting, and then you write an assert equals on top of it. Like, how are you expecting assert equals to work? It's useless, it won't work, right? So I have given that feedback to quite a bit. Many of you did it. Many, I think 50% of the class definitely did it. If a method is expected to throw an exception, I don't have to go ahead and start writing things like what was it doing? Account number. I don't have to say string account number is equal to null, like whatever, like it doesn't make sense. And then you're saying this is my expected result and so on. It doesn't make sense. Why are we even going this route? Are you expecting a result? No. Why should you even say that? And then some methods, now this it won't work because it was null. But for example, in this one, let's take in this one. You're saying, oh, I'm going to do an empty check. So an empty should come back and I should assert equals that my expected result is same as this. That's ridiculous. Like it's useless. You're just doing a useless check here. These two statements will never be reached even. They're unreachable code. Why? Because this line where you say create a new account with blank 2050 cents, there is where your exception will be thrown right away. As soon as an exception is thrown, the test method aborts. That's what an exception is. The method just aborts. So it will never even come to those two lines. They're useless lines. They're unreachable code. Because you'll say, why doesn't it tell me? When I write my code in Java, it tells me unreachable code. But these are test methods. It's saying you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't tell you this is unreachable code. It just says, okay, you've written code and I don't know what will happen. It doesn't know what will happen in that statement of creating a new account. So it doesn't say anything. Okay, so this is redundant code. It's not wrong, but it's useless. I mean, I didn't dock off marks for it. But logically, it's incorrect code. Why would you write that? So you will notice that all my methods that are throwing an exception are kind of, I mean, not even validating anything. Now this I definitely do. I know this should work. I give it an account number of 1, 2, 3, 4. I create an expected result. I create a result and I say assert equals. Then it makes sense. But all methods that are throwing an exception, they don't have any expected result. Notice here, account balance invalid. I say set my account to minus 1000. And then of course it's wrong and the method will throw an exception. So why am I even going further to say, oh, expected result is minus 1000? Silly, it can be, right? Because an exception is thrown. So I think I may have set account get, yeah, there it is. So I will have this extra method because I forgot to put it, but oh, so what will happen when you run it? You'll have a failure, right? You'll have a failure. Because I have a method called get account number. So I'll have to put this black on Blackboard, guys, for you. I forgot to put this method get account number here. It is, oh, it is there. Oh, I just added it right now, right? I added it right now. You will have to put it, otherwise your test will fail. I'll put this back on Blackboard, okay? I forgot to put this method in my class diagram and I have tested it. I've tested it in my tester.
Error in the test class. There you are using get account balance, but here the method is get balance.
Oh God, get, what am I using there?
Get account balance.
Good, this is coming up in my tester. Where was it? In TextPad, I had opened it. Get account balance, right? And what is the other one? Set account balance? Okay.
Get account balance.
Okay. No, I have a set account balance also in my tester.
Yeah.
So set account balance. This should also be called account balance. Set account balance, get account balance. Right? So names are different. Okay, what else? Is this one right? The get account number? Get account number is right. Get account balance and get and set account balance. Okay, we'll have to make this change. I'll definitely have to put this black back on Blackboard because I've made. So I'll kind of say that please double check. Okay. So it's good that we're kind of making these changes. Not changes, I mean, I kind of brought it up. I mean, they're not a big deal, but definitely students who will make sense, I mean, they can make it out, but I don't want to, it's my job that I don't create any ambiguity, right? Okay. So anything else? Let's see. Debit and credit, I don't think I made a mistake. Validate account balance was never, I never checked this. Private methods are not tested. They are tested via the public methods. Anything else you see, Manjit, or anybody else? Definitely more eyes are better, right? So this was the one which was doing it. So I have get account number, I have get account balance, and I have set account balance. Okay, definitely that needs a change. Let's open the second one also then, the savings account, just to double check. Oh, I again forgot to remove this. I mean, you don't need these statements because, and again, I tell you, don't put code that is not required. So let's just check. Yeah, see, I'm using a get account number here also. Definitely it has to go back. Get account balance here also. Let's just double check the credit and the debit also, guys, just to be sure. Debit. Debit. And where is the credit? Credit, credit, credit. Okay, so this is okay. Let's open up the third one also. The checking account test. I mean, I'm positive I made the same mistakes here. The same, see, get account number. Yep. Okay. Definitely this has to go. This has to go back. Anything else you see, guys? Okay, let's see. Savings account, set interest rate, get interest rate, calculate interest. What does calculate interest do? Takes the interest rate and multiplies by your account balance and it returns it. Calculate interest, take your account balance, multiply by the interest rate. Yes.
Is this going to be posted on Blackboard?
Yes, 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 I will, of course. I will post this back. Only the inheritance assignment has a few changes. Nothing else has any change.
I'm just trying to follow.
Yep, just follow. I'll post it back. right? And what about checking out? Checking account set fee per transaction, get fee per transaction, credit, debit, two-string, validate fee per transaction, and charge fee. Okay, looks good to me. So how do you calculate interest in savings account? Account balance multiplied by rate, not this rate, this value, right? Not the percentage, because then it's incorrect. So therefore, keep in mind, and I mentioned it, the 0.5% to 2.5% is equivalent to 0.005 to 0.025 in double values.
So you have to multiply by those numbers.
One of these, of course. The printouts are percentages, but the usage is all double values. Don't make a mistake. Right? And I have set them somewhere. I have, so that, because not everybody, see here, the private method, which is a double value between 0.05 to 0.25 for your information. And definitely you're using this range. This is only for output. This is only for output. In the output, I show you 0.5% or whatever. So you take your double value, multiply by 100 when you display it. Otherwise, you use the double value throughout everywhere in your code. When you validate it, when you multiply it, you have to use your double value. Okay. So it's mentioned 0.5% to this is equivalent to this. That's what it means. Okay. So that's what it is. And again, definitely you will see that. And what about fee per transaction? Fee per transaction is just an amount. Anytime the credit or the debit is successful, it will subtract that amount. And it says, I've told you it should override it. See, the credit method overrides the credit method of its superclass. It calls the super credit method, and if the credit is successful, that means no exception was thrown, a fee is charged by invoking the charge fee method. Now, where is the charge fee method? The charge fee method, there it is. The private method charge fee subtracts the fee per transaction value from the account balance. That's how a fee is charged. Right? So what is your fee? Whatever is your account balance, subtract the fee transaction from it. That's how it is charged. Okay? So it's telling you every method has been explained. What does this method do? And again, if I don't see overriding, I'm not marking it. I'm telling you, like you'll say it works, doesn't matter. The key concept is inheritance in this assignment. So everywhere where you need to override, you have to do it. You don't have to write new methods. Savings account and the checking accounts should extend from the superclass. Methods and variables can't be repeated if you need it. You know what I mean? And I open the code. If I see it's not inheritance, it's closed back. And don't come back to me. Right? It's right here at the top. And I can't emphasize it enough. I've said create an inheritance hierarchy solution containing superclass account and the subclasses savings account and checking account. Failure to use inheritance will result in a mark of 0. As simple as that. Okay, so don't expect any marks from me. I won't. What's the sense of creating such a big assignment and putting in 5-6 hours of work if you're not going to follow my instructions? Okay, I'll do this very quickly so that you have it. So I'm sorry for that, and thanks for bringing it up. So I'm just going to replace that file. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. This inheritance assignment. I'm not going to touch the other ones because, I mean, extra methods are okay. They're empty anyway. So, and if you could very quickly, one of you do a double check for me that we have the right one, then it would be good to know. I'll just go into assignments and I'll overwrite that file. So inheritance assignment is being overwritten. Right, so that's about the assignment. If there are any questions, ask me right away. So I'm just going to give you. So if you could double check for me, please, to see that inheritance assignment is the right one now. How will you know? We've added a new method. Okay, so you'll know straight away. I've added that get. I've changed the names of my balance methods and I've said get account number. Please see that you do it. Have it? Thank you. What was the file called? Inheritance assignment.docx, right? Okay, so just download it again, please. I'm going to send a copy immediately to all the students. So just the inheritance assignment.docx. The expected, all that will be fine. Just in case, I'll just double check that we have done everything. I'm glad that it just came out because it's good to. Okay, so any questions now? So expected output is given to you. The assignment is given to you. I've also gave you my exception class just in case. It could be 15%. Blue Jay is 5% right now. Blue Jay testing is 5% and this is 15% because this is much, much bigger, right? I've given you the testing files here. So now in the final exam, expect to do something and I'll provide you the test file and then you can test it against it and you can be sure that you're doing the right thing.
And you also changed the weightage of the target.
No, it was 10 and 10. It was 10 and 10. Because the card game was not done too well, I gave more weightage to the first assignment. Right, I did. I was thinking same 5 and 10, 5 and 15, but the card game output was not so good. I was expecting much more from it, but so I said, okay, let's give it equal because the employee one was also 2 classes and so on. So it wasn't like it was nothing. But unit testing is basically not a great deal. You know what I mean? It was an hour work, maybe 2 hours. But this one will take you 5 to 6 hours, just so that you know, because it's inheritance. You're doing the first example. I only did an example with you, but so this is 15% right now. It is sitting. I've added the 5% of your testing in your weightage. That's what I've done right now. That's my aim. Okay. If things go bad, then things may change. But I'm kind of saying, I'm already saying that this assignment is worth 15%. Okay. I didn't make a commitment there, so I could change it. I'm committed here now. Right? I'm committed here. People may say, oh, it's 15%, let me do it. And they may not have done the testing. You know what I mean? So we are thinking 15% right now. So there are 3 classes. It's not a big job. And they're simple methods: constructors, getters, setters, validate. So it's not as if you can do it. It's just the concept that I'm trying to test you on. Right? I'm trying to, and I've given all my instructions. I've said what I want. Every class has been kind of defined. See, the final variable is initialized in the constructor. It says so. This variable cannot be null or empty. A separate exception is thrown if a null or an empty parameter value is passed to this to set this variable.
It's really similar to the employee idea.
Quite idea. Yeah, you're right. It's. I mean, there are a few things were different, but here, I mean, the credit and debit are different, but the concept is same. Exactly. I'm trying to test you on inheritance, and everything that I want is right here. All exception conditions are here. Exception messages have been given to you. All you have to do is put it together, right? But it will take a little more time, definitely, than your testing assignment. It will. Okay. So again, if you find anything, please let me know. I hope I don't have to make any more changes because it does. I mean, again, I'm human after all. Like, I may forget things, but I try my best to kind of do everything and do it. So of course, this is doable. I've already done it because I've already given you my test results. So it is doable. And it will take you, if you really polish it well, write your comments, everything, polish it well, it will take you around 5 to 6 hours. I didn't put in my comments or anything. And I mean, it took me around a couple of hours to do it. Okay. And of course, I had to write my testers also. So keep that in mind. So this is the final assignment of the semester, of course. It is due on Sunday, midnight. There are no extensions at all. And my aim is simply this. I will test your classes against my test code. All green, one job done. Come back to your class and just see if you've done my thing, like in the sense that you've used the right values and everything, which should be fine, but who knows? I see answers that are so unexpected, so I have to check code. I always think I don't have to check code, but I always have to go back and check code. But because students will do different things, good and different things, right? Okay, so there it is. Again, if there is anything that's not clear, please see that you come and see me in my office hour if you want. I have an office hour today, which I don't think, but of course you can if you want. I have an office hour tomorrow and I have an office hour on Friday. So you have 3 office hours at your disposal before you have to submit it in. I'm not answering any questions on email and I'm not answering on the weekend. I'm not, right? So that was the purpose of doing it in class, so that if there is anything, and I'm glad I did it and glad that you guys pointed out the mistakes so that the things are clear, right? And again, as if some of you I see have started doing it, if you find an error when you run my test file, just let me know immediately. Then I'll know if some mistake has been made. Okay, so Go ahead with it. As I said, it's not a tough thing. It's just a conceptual inheritance that I'm trying to test you on. Okay. Now, the option of working in groups has been given on this assignment. The only thing is, if you really are working in groups, because if one student works and the other just takes a free ride, then the whole purpose is lost. You know what I mean? So it's up to you. Like, I didn't force it because I had a couple of issues, only a couple of issues in the previous assignment, like in the relational database that was done by in pairs, and the card game, right? So just a couple, one or two in each, one in each maybe. So don't come to me then. It's up to you. So I've left it open. I didn't make it paired, though it's less work for me. But I just said it's just a concept I'm testing, right? It's card game was quite a bit of logic, you know what I mean? So two heads put together would do the job. Similarly, relational database was a lot of logic. So two heads put together would do the job. Here, it's more a concept. I'm trying to test you on the concept. The methods are not so tough at all. There's not much logic in it, you know what I mean? Small methods. So I didn't make it paired. But if you want to work in pairs, please let me know beforehand. So send me an email saying I and this person and I. It always comes afterwards for students, just so that you grammatically know. So Amandeep Kaur and I are working on this project. That's how you write it, okay? For information. You have to improve your English and your grammar because you're going to send out resumes and you're going to go on interviews and so on, right? And you learn, you live and learn. Especially if English is the second language, then it takes a little time. So I don't want to critique it. I'm not. English is my second language too. But you live and learn. So please see, when you write something, you write it grammatically correct. Okay? It seems very odd, right? Amandeep Kaur and I are working, but that's how you write it. That's how you write it in proper English. Okay? So there it is. Work on it. As I said, it's an easy conceptual assignment. It's not on logic, but on concepts. And you have my test classes. And if they all are good and green, you can satisfy yourself that you are almost 100%. Almost. I'm not saying again because I'll have to look at coding. If it is not inheritance, it is 0. I see you creating a new credit method. You're not using inheritance. I see you creating a new two-string method. It's not inheritance. It's a 0. I'm not even bothering. I don't have time to give my feedback now. You know what I mean? Like, I've been saying it for a while. Okay, so the new file has gone on Blackboard. Has also gone on Blackboard.
So there's new versions of the test files.
No, I haven't changed anything but inheritance.docx. Nothing else has been changed. I haven't changed anything else. There were typo mistakes here in the diagram. I've changed those so that you don't because then the test will not run.
Right.
If I don't take care of these typo mistakes.
Well, I thought I asked because I just opened up the test files in NetBeans and they have a lot of errors.
I don't know. Maybe your package statement is wrong. Your package statement is missing if you have so many errors.
No, my package statement is not missing.
It can be because I've already tested it, right? So just opening the test file doesn't mean it. There should be something. Either it is a wrong package statement or something. Maybe my test files have a different package statement. Change it, right?
Because basically I call my project account, not account inheritance. So
Yeah, so that's what I said. The package statement will be different. Just change it, right? Change it in my test
Yeah,
files.
but I still have red squiggles.
Okay, look at it afterwards, Bradley.
Okay, thank you.
Right? They shouldn't give any errors. They're running perfectly fine.
Okay then.
Right? So the typo mistakes have been taken care of and it's back on Blackboard. So that's the only file that has changed. And I've put an announcement too. Okay, so our next job now. The next job is a combination of reviewing for the final exam and also introducing you to new concepts. So again, to save time, because we are short of time again, I have placed a file called techsupportsystem.zip under weekly learning. Please create a project. It would be nice to create it by the same name, tech support system, and then copy and paste my files into it. Right? And I'll go through them with you. Okay? So please create a new project. It's a complete file. So under weekly learning, you will notice, not under any section, just normal class examples. You will notice that I have placed a tech support system.zip file for you. Unzip it, it will have 4 Java files, I think. Could be 5, I forget now. 5th one could be empty. Right? And then create a folder by the same name. I would recommend the same name. It depends on you. Then you don't have to change any package statements. And I'll do the same, and then we'll open it up in NetBeans. Okay, once you have it ready, open it up. So the aim again is to show you more code, of course, right? To introduce you to two new classes, hash set and hash map. They're like array list, of course, a little different, right? So what are these collections that we have? To use the secure random class, we've done that once before. To talk about a few more things as I go on, and that's the whole purpose, right? Okay, so once you have it, let's open up the project. New project, I already have one, so just create it by the same name. It will save you some time. It's up to you. And if I make any change, I'll place it on Blackboard. If I don't make any change, then this is your work for today, okay? Okay, so we'll start. So let me tell you what this is about, and then go from here. So as the name suggests, this is a tech support system. It's like any system that you, so if you are having problems with your laptop, or if you're having like anything, it's just a support system. You call into the support system, and you say, oh, this is what I am facing, and they'll try to help you online, right? That's what it does. So now this is not a human being helping it. It's an artificial system, an intelligent artificial system. So when you say something like, oh, this has crashed, it's not as if the person is making any choices. I hope you know what artificial intelligence system is, right? So what happens in an artificial intelligence system, all possibilities of questions being asked with keywords and everything is stored in a database. So when you log on and you're doing an online, this is what is wrong, an online help support system, and you give something like keyboard is stuck, or I see the black screen of death, and so on, it searches its database for that kind of question and then gives you the corresponding answer that is already saved in that database. Sometimes you may ask a question that doesn't make any sense at all. How are you? Could be, or oh, it's rainy today. And then in that case, it comes up with some random answer or something. It's like your Siri on your phones, right? If you ask something that makes sense, it does. Otherwise, it's sorry, but I don't know what you mean kind of stuff. So the same thing here, I've created some default responses. Things like, oh, that question isn't making sense, or could you describe it another way, and so on. So it's an online tech support system in which there is no human being on the other side. There is an artificial intelligence system, which I've called responder here, right? So that's how it responds. So there is an input reader. The job of the input reader is to take the input from the user, break it up into words, and then look for keywords. Otherwise, how will it search for an answer, right? So that's the logic. So when you put in a question, that question is a line, right? It is broken up into words. These words are put into a hash set object. A hash set is just a collection with unique values. So if I say, how are you? How is the weather? The word how is only stored once, logically. Why would you store it as many number of times? So a hash set, so if you open up your help on Java and look for hash set class in Java. So you can go to 8. It comes up with 7 all the time. But anyway, to its API. And you look for hash set. There it is. And notice what it says. It says hash set is a subclass of abstract set, which is a subclass of abstract collection, which is a subclass of object. So you now do know about hierarchy of extents, right? All implemented interfaces. It also implements the serializable, the clonable, the iterable, the collection, and the set interfaces. It implements all these interfaces. That means Any method from these classes can be used in hash set. Any default methods from these interfaces can be used in this set, right? So you can sort, remember your collection.sort, what was it, collections, I forget. But anything that is available in any of these interfaces, as long as it is default method, Java 8 now can have default methods in its interfaces. Any methods, any concrete methods from these sets, you can all use them. So if I look at, so you see, public class this, extends this, implements this, this, and this, right? So if we go through it, look at the constructor. There is one which says hash set constructs a new empty set. And the set, the main important thing to remember in a hash set is that the values have to be unique. There are no repeated values. And that serves our purpose. If I give, because you use prepositions, the, of so many times in a sentence, you don't want to keep them. You know what I mean? Like you could even remove them. You could create a set of these prepositions. And after I have asked you a question, or after the responder has been asked a question, all these prepositions in the off on can be removed. It's no sense checking them in your database. You know what I mean? You only check for keywords. Same as with your search engines. Same thing with your search engine. It's like a search engine, a very small version, a very mini version of a search engine. When you give something in a search engine, you say something like I did, hash set Java, it looks for this that word. If I say hash set in Java, if I put my ins and fors, it just ignores them. It just picks up the keywords because that's what is important. If you want to search exactly, then you have to put it in double quotes. Same concept here also. So you ask a question, that question is broken up into keywords. That keyword is searched in the database. Now I'm not using a database, I'm using an array list to keep those keywords, and then it picks up and gives you the answer. Now keep in mind, what should I use to keep my answers? So there is a keyword and there is an answer. There is a keyword and there is an answer, right? So I can't use an array list because an array list can only have one, like a group of elements. I'll use a hash map. A hash map is a key value pair. You will have some keys and you will have some values. And keys have to be unique. You can't repeat keys. So I'll put my keys like crash, keyboard, operating system, printer. I'll put my keywords, and corresponding to each keyword, I'll put an answer, like something like your key, like any valid answer, kind of makes sense answer. And what will I do? I'll pick up my word. I'll look for the word in my hash map key values, get the corresponding value out of it, and give it back. Right? That's how it works. That's how a search engine works. Okay. So hash set is a collection of unique strings. It's a unique value of unique values, a collection of unique values. You could start with an initial capacity, but again, you don't have to bother. It is dynamic in nature. As you add, it grows. If you remove, it contracts. Okay. There is one which also says, oh, give me a collection and I'll convert it into a hash set. Logical. It's not a big thing. You can give a collection in there. You can give an array list, and it will convert it into a hash map. And a load factor is how many values are loaded. This is more to do with efficiency. Okay. Notice the methods. There is an add method. There is a clear, a clone, a contains, is empty, like your array list. Very common methods, right? Iterator. You can create an iterator on a hash map. Iterator is a special object that automatically goes from the first to the second to the third to the fourth element. It jumps. It's like a rabbit. It's called an iterator. You can remove. You can find the size of your hash map, and I've never used this, but there is a method. I can check it up what it is, but it's a split iterator, but I have never used it. Also, notice how it says, what do I get? I get a remove all and an equals method from the abstract set. I get add all, contains all, retain all, to array, to string from my abstract. So here are what it is inherited. Then it says I have inherited these methods from the set interface. I have inherited these methods from the collection interface, and I have inherited these methods from the iterable interface, the for each loop. Okay, and then here are all the explanation. Okay, so as there is a hash set, there is also a hash map. You will notice how hash map. I want you to look at both of these. So a hash map. Hash map. And come on. There it is. You will notice how hash map is defined. Look at it has a key value pair. I hope you recognize these angular brackets, the type of elements, right? So there is a K for key and there is a V for value. So a hash map looks like this. So a hash set looks like a set. Anju and Manjeet and just this G, then whatever. It's just a set. No value repeats twice. That's a hash set, right? Advantage over array list, only unique values. That's the advantage. So if you want to put unique values, don't use an array list. Use this, okay? And then comes a hash map. A hash map has pair of values as each element. So every element of the hash map has a key value pair, something like this. So I could say my name, and I could say my marks. Like I could say, oh, these are my marks. You know what I mean? So there's a connection. I could say, and his or her total marks. It could be a float, it could be an integer, any objects, okay? 111. So this is a hash map. So Anju will only occur once again, right? So now if I'm saying, what are the marks of Anju? I'll go and search for, I'm not sure about hash map. I take back my words. I have to double check. Only unique, I think keys are unique. So if I say, give me the marks of Anju, I'll look for the key Anju, I'll pick up the value and I'll say, these are the marks for Anju. So how am I going to use it here in my project today? What I'm going to do is, I'm going to the database that I'm creating. I'll kind of put the keyword and an answer together. So keyword could be something like keyboard, like a search engine. So you are looking for keyboard, there will be something here. You're looking for crash, there will be something here, right? And so on and so forth. So now when you ask the question of the responder, it will search this hash map for the word, for the keyword, whatever comes first. There could be more than one keyword. Whatever comes first, it will pick up that answer for you and it will split it on the screen. That's your answer, right? That's how it will work. That's a hash map. So two new concepts today, two new classes today, a hash set and a hash map. The type of key is maintained by this map KV, and I'll have to double check. I am almost positive, but again, I'm not. So it permits null values and the null key, except that it is the order. We don't know what the order will be, but I'm looking for if the keys have to be unique. We'll know. We'll definitely know somewhere. Okay, clear, clone, compute, entry set. See, notice, oh, returns true if this map maps to one or more keys. Okay, so keys cannot not necessarily be unique. It can map to more than one keys, right? Oh no, that's not what it means. It could map to more than one keys. But see if the key has to be unique. Somewhere it will say. And I have to just search for it. Somewhere in its description, it will say whether the keys have to be unique. I think, but I'm not like I'll double check and let you know. Okay, I'll read this in the break. Okay, so let's look at the classes. Input reader allows you to take input from the user, right? Responder responds depending upon keywords. The support system actually does what? Creates an input reader, creates a responder, kind of makes the whole program go. And in the tester, all I've done is I've created a support system object and I've said start working. Okay, so we'll go one by one through it. So let's start with input reader. I'll do one class and then I'll give you a break. Okay. So if the package statement does not match the package name here, then definitely you will see a lot of errors. Right. So if I go something like this, it will start showing me in my test file. Of course, you see so many, they'll all be red here. Here it's not saying a big deal, but test files usually give you a lot of errors. Everything goes red. Anyway, so notice what do I need? I need the arrays class, the hash set class, and the scanner class all coming from java.util. You'll notice where I need the arrays. I just have to put a small comment here. It says this class simulates an input reader that accepts input and then splits it into words. And splits it into words, we can say, and saves in a set. Right, so you can complete it. I mean, that was looking a little odd. So it takes input via the scanner, split it up, and then puts it into a set. So any duplicate, any replicate words will not be saved. That's the advantage of using a set. Okay. So this is coming to you. I mean, if these are small changes, it's not a big deal. What I've done is I've used a private scanner object. I've called it reader so that it makes sense, reader. What do I do with the constructor? Not much. I just associate the system.in. Again, I could have done it right here, but please keep in mind, Java, you don't initialize You don't initialize where you declare them. You initialize every instance variable in your constructor. It's a norm, follow it. Right? Whether you like it or not, just follow it. Because that's what it is. It's different in different languages. So what's the big deal in following norms? So nothing big here. Now here is the one that is doing the main job. Notice the return type. It is returning a hash set object. Of what type? Of strings type, right? And it is called get input. So what is the job of this method? It will take input from the user. It will split it, and then it will put it into a set. That's what it does. Okay, so let's see. So I give this on the screen. I say, what's your question? Maybe I could add, please give your question or something. So this will come up, right? This will come up on the screen and saying, give your question. That's what it is asking. What's your question? Right? If that doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's saying, what's your question? Now, I just use the next line method of the scanner class. Whatever you give me, I trim it also, and I convert it all to lowercase. Because remember, this is all working with strings. And instead of saying, oh, this is uppercase, lowercase, ignore case, and so on, when I take input from the user, I just trim it, remove the extra blanks, and I just convert everything into lowercase. That means my database or my hash map will have all keywords in lowercase. Then its search becomes easy. Okay. Otherwise, you'll have to take at so many places. Shall I use ignores case and so on? Now you're kind of safe. Safe in the sense you've said, give me your input. I'll convert everything into lowercase. And it goes into the variable input line. Input line is not a instance variable. It's just a local variable that I'm using. Then what I do is I split it on blank, assuming that you have separated your words by blanks. Like logically you will. Now you'll say, what if there is something else, a colon and so on and so forth. You can change this split method. You can say, oh, I want to split it on this, this, and this. So if I want to look at the split method, you can always go here and you can say show Java doc. It belongs to the string class, of course. And here it is. It says, okay, you can give a whole regular expression here. So I've only used a blank, but you can use a whole regular expression here. And what is a regular expression? Remember, we've done regular expressions before. You can say, I want to split on comma, semicolon, colon, blank, anything. Quotes, anything, and it will split it up. You can create a regular expression of it. So for example, here they've given an example. So what does it do? Splits this string around matches of the given regular expression. And what does it return? It returns a string array. It returns a string array. So I've used that here. Make sense? I've created a string array called word array, and I've said split my line on a blank. If I was using a regular expression, then I'll just go and start using a regular expression. I use my whatever is available in Java. I'll put all the symbols and put them in square brackets, I think, one of these, right? So you can use a regular expression. Then what do I do? Now I've kind of given you two ways, but you will see that it's giving me a warning here also. Maybe there is a better way. Oh, it says surround with may split the declaration into a declaration and assignment. Okay, that's not a big deal. But here it gives me a kind of a, you're saying, it says, why are you doing a manual array? I have better ways. So I've written that better ways here. So, but logically, what do? I go through each element of my word array and I add it to my hash map, hash set. So words is your hash set. If you can remember, where is it? Hash set. There it is. Right. So I declare a hash set again, locally will do. So you don't have to put string here again because I've already said it is a string, but this is a normal logic. What do? How do you split it? After I've split it, I've put it into an array. And now I say word at a time and put it in a hash set. You said, why don't you split and put it in a hash set to begin with? Because it was returning a string array. I couldn't do it. The split method returns a string array. Like I have to use what's, I can't say, oh, why didn't you do it in the beginning? Because notice the split method was returns a string array. That's what it was returning. I don't know where it went, but it was. Oh, it's opening up in my other browser window. There it is. It says it returns a string array. So if it returns a string array, then I don't have much option. I just have to put it in a string array first. And then manually, I write a for enhanced loop. But it says there are better ways. And of course, I've written you the better ways here. There is an add all methods in your hash set. So I could remove this if you like. And I can use this one statement and it will work. What have I done? I've used the add all methods of my hash set and I've used the as list method of my arrays set collection class, and I've said, okay, take the array. And again, there's no big deal at all. You just, it's a static method. Notice I'm using it with the class. So what is it doing logically? It is taking your word array, converting it into a list, and putting the list into the words. It can be done this way. And I've given you two ways. I've kind of written it two ways for you. This is another way. I've kind of assigned a value also. I've said arrays as list, word array, and I've converted into a casting. So I've shown you three ways of taking your words in the array and putting it into a hash set.
As list is just a string.
As list is a method of the arrays class, which takes your string array and creates a list out of it, like just a list. I don't know, we can double check, and then puts it into, and then when you say add all, it puts it. So let's see. I don't know about alphabetically or anything, but that could be a logical question. Returns a fixed size list backed by the specified array. No, doesn't say anything. Doesn't specify, so we can't say. So notice how they've done here. They took three string variables, and then this will be converted into a string and put it into a list variable. And you can put it in any kind of collection. I've done it in a hash set. Right? So again, I mean, logically, there is nothing wrong in writing this for loop that we wrote. But when you write it, it will tell you that, oh, there is a better way of doing it. Why reinvent the wheel? Why write your own for loop? It's saying, why are you writing your own for loop? Why are you doing it manually? Use a method that is available, which is nice of NetBeans. Right, I'm glad. And then I said, I looked it up and I said, oh, that makes more sense.
You would consider both the second and the third option better then?
I would definitely, this and this are better, because we never the whole concept is, why should we write it again, right? You know what I mean? If it does it for you, and that's what it said. It said, why are you doing it manually? That's what it said. So even this is correct. There is nothing wrong here too. This is also absolutely correct. In this, I've used an assignment statement. So I use the same method. Notice I use the same method. But I then have to cast it into a hash set and then put it into words. So this seemed to be more, I mean, I found it better. But again, you can use any of the two on lines 40 and 41. I would prefer you to use them rather than doing a manual for loop. It doesn't make sense. And then all I did was, this was just to show you. It will print it out on the screen so that we could check, oh, these are my words. Just, you don't have to we don't put any printing statements in our class definitions. We've never done it. This is just to show you that it works. And then I return the words. That's all this class has. Take input from the user. So if you run it, when I run it, you will see when I use it, it will come with a question, please. And it kind of, I didn't put a question, please here, because then it kind of looks a little odd, but it's not as if you don't have to. I just showed the arrow, but you will see that this comes up. You type in whatever you have to type in, press the enter key. It takes the line, splits it into words, and will split it out on you. That's what it does. That's all it does. So it's just, this printing is just to show you that it works, but the method only returns the hash set. And then what will be the job of the responder? The responder will take this hash set, will go through the elements of the hash set, refer to its hash map, look for the keyword, find the answer, and give it to you. That's how it responds. Right? So this is your input reader class. We'll take a break. This is your input reader class. A very simple class. But you've learned a new class called hash set. So all you have to do is, you have to kind of search for, is there a solution that is available? Google, go into the API, look at the methods that are available, and use them. So remember, I said this in the beginning of the semester also, and I repeat it again. Java is about two things: using the API, which is so powerful, and writing your own classes. Right? There are two aspects of Java. You have to learn how to use the API, and you have to learn how to write your own classes. They're both important. So we've been using classes as we've been going on, but we've been trying to also create our own logic, improve our own logic by writing them. Okay, we'll take a break here. I didn't make any changes here, but after we are done, I'll remove the system out printer. Yes, Bradley. Okay. So take a 20-minute break, have your lunch, and then come back. I'll do the same, and then we'll go from there, okay?
I was thinking maybe after class, I come by your office, you can take a look at the test files.
Sure, sure. Please do. You can come. That's up to you.
I'll be back soon.
Sure.